What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Mo. Welcome to the channel. So listen, I made a video. The last video I posted or put up, rather. I make a lot of videos, just don't post them. But the last video that I put up was, if you wanted to be a dealer rep, and we looked at that kind of as from the rep side. I had a couple dealers hit me up that are interested in becoming a dealership that has reps, and I just want to make this short, sweet video about the upsides and the downsides about having reps. Rep for your dealership. I have a dealership, my own dealership. I do not have reps, okay? If I do get a rep, it would be someone that I've known forever and I could trust them 100%. I would not be running ads about, getting reps and this, that, and the third. And here's the reason why. Let's get right into it. Liability. So let's just say you're like, hey, the only way I could get hurt is if they get into a car accident or something using my dealer tag. Sure, you're absolutely right. That is an option. Good luck trying to get reps to give you money and not have access to a dealer's tag. Generally speaking, what we do is, or what the guy that I repped for does, is he makes you have a waiting period. Let's just say 3 months. If you look like you're a producer and you're gonna stick around, then yes, you have access to a dealer tag, and there is an additional fee for that tag. He does put you on the insurance, so you would be covered. Now, would you be covered if you were out drinking and got into an accident? Probably not. So again, there's a lot that goes into it. Number two, what happens if you have this rep and you and this rep aren't getting along and they're a vindictive fuck and they don't care about going to the auctions anymore and they run up $100,000 tab on your license? Well, you're gonna have to, you don't necessarily have to buy those cars. You can call the auction house up and say, hey, look, this is what happened. Explain the situation to them. It's not like someone stole your credit card. And what the auction house will say is, okay, look, we'll sell those cars for you and you're going to owe us the difference. So let's just say on $100,000, you don't have good run numbers. You may end up, owing 30, 40 grand because you don't have the good run numbers, right? So you're not a big time car dealer. You're probably a independent who may or may not be running a lot of cars wholesale. So you're not going to get the best run numbers, which means you're going to get less money than what they paid for the car. And if you don't have the money to pay for it, you're kind of screwed, right? Now, what would happen to the rep in that instance is their name would get put in a book and they wouldn't be allowed to do business with that auction either. But chances are they don't give a fuck, because when the time comes and they're going to get their own spot, they'll be able to work it out with the auction house. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. A lot of different personalities, okay? A lot of different personalities. Especially, so the guy I use in Tampa, he's totally hands off, okay? He has nothing to do with the dealership. The workings is left up to the reps. So they handle everything on a day-to-day basis, so he doesn't have to deal with it. If you're a smart dealership owner, you're going to want to be there to oversee everything. At the end of the day, you're going to want to jump on your DMS, whether it's Wayne Reeves or whatever, look at it and say, hey, these are the cars that got sold. This is the money that's owed to me. Let me hit this person up, because no one wants to pay you. Hit them up, collect your money. There's another thing. You got to chase people for money. Generally speaking, you got to chase people for money. What we started doing I keep saying we because that's my homeboy and I help him with the reps a lot, but legally I have nothing to do with that dealership. So when I use the term we, understand I'm using it loosely because he and I have conversations on how he should proceed. So what I decided to do for him was say, hey, listen, if someone sells a car and they don't have your money within 24 hours of the car being sold, we're going to introduce a $100 fine. So they collected $300 dealer fee. They collected $600 in tax, title, registration. They owe $900. 24 hours has gone by. We see that he hasn't paid on his own. Simply put, now you owe us $1,000, right? It's a $100 tax. And it'll continue to go up. If $100 don't get the guys to start paying in a timely fashion, then it'll be $200. Eventually, it'll get to the point where they have a decision to either stay or just start paying like you're supposed to. Listen, your rent gets paid on the 1st. Why the fuck am I waiting for my money? You feel me? Like, you paid your electric, you paid your water, you paid your rent. What am I, some jerk off? You're not going to pay me? Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's not how that works, man. I'm a bill like everything else. Or he's a bill like everything else. And there's a learning curve. So while you have these reps, okay, you might be getting some new jacks right off the street. It is in your best interest. Now, you don't have to do this, but it is in your best interest to take them to the auctions. Set them up with companies like ACV, CarMax, where they're a lot more green light than not green light cars. Explain to them the ins and the outs. Spend a day or two or a week with them at the auction. I know it sounds tedious, but keep this in mind. At this point, you're investing into your company, okay? So what you're doing is you're creating a strong buyer. You're creating a strong rep, okay? This rep is going to go out and they're like, yeah, I'm going to buy 5 cars a month. Okay, not huge numbers, but good numbers. And I'm going to sell these 5. I'm going to make money on it. And then you're charging $300 anyway, so you're making an additional $1,500 plus whatever you want to charge monthly. So here he charges $400, so it's $1,900. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's $1,900 a month off of one dude, right? So now if you had 10 of those guys, and let's just say you had 10 of them making $2,000 for argument's sake, you're making $10,000 a month without selling cars. All you have is the license, and you're paying the insurance, and whatever. He doesn't pay water because it's a well, but electricity, right? So after you take all that out, the rest is yours for free. But you have to get these guys in a mindset where they know what they're doing. Because if you do it the opposite way, they're going out there and they're getting burnt, they're burning through their money, and before you know it, they're out of money, haven't made money, got to pay you, and it's just not worth it for them anymore. So now you lose that rep who potentially could have been really good. So that's something to think about too. So there is some investment in terms of time on your side. Let's think about what else here. Personalities. If you're, like I said, initially what started out saying was, if you're the dealer who's going to stay in the office, which I would be, you have a bunch of these different personalities, and not everyone's going to clash. You're going to get dealers that will go out to your lot to show their car, and that customer might say, hey, I want to look at that Denali over there, and because that rep doesn't own that Denali, they're like, oh yeah, I don't know nothing about that, or oh no, I don't got the keys. People are just scumbags. So what we do to try to deter that from happening is we have a $150 incentive. All right. So if you're showing someone else, so if someone comes to see your car and you're willing to show someone else's car and it sells, you'll get a $150, bird dog fee, if you will. Is it low? Yes. Is it better than getting absolutely nothing because your buyer is going to walk off? I believe so. Shit, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather sell my car, but if I know it's a no-go on my car or any other one of my cars that are on the lot, and they want to look at this Tacoma right here, yeah, sure as shit. Let's go look at the Tacoma. Duh. So, these are just some things that you guys should definitely consider when you're considering having reps or not. Ultimately, you work pretty hard to have a dealer's license. And if you're making really good money selling cars, I don't suggest it. If you are kind of not really making money and you don't necessarily care if the license stays or doesn't stay, then I would say fuck it. Just get rid of the dealers. Don't get rid of the dealer's license. Get reps, because you really don't have anything to lose anyway. I know this other guy I did business with. He always had 2 dealerships. He had a warehouse, and then so he had like a small warehouse, like $800 a month warehouse, like good for 3 cars. And then he rented the one right next to it. And the one warehouse had an active dealership, the other one had an active dealership, but no one used the other one. As soon as his first one got in trouble, he quickly that night moved all of his reps over from one dealership to the next and went through whatever he had to go through with the first dealership, whether it was, we got to buy some cars, they're going to attack the bond, we're out of business, etc., etc. I don't know if he had it in other people's names. I don't know the ins and the outs of behind the scenes, but I will say every time I went there, he always had at least two warehouses that could hold 2-3 cars in each one of them side by side, and each one of them was in fact licensed, separate licenses. And I mean, keep this in mind, this particular gentleman was charging $500 a month, $299 a car, and he probably had 30 or 40 reps, so it didn't matter to him. He totally shady. In the state of Florida, you have to do your paperwork at the dealership, but he had reps all throughout the state of Florida. So he was in southern Florida, I'm in Tampa, and I was one of his reps, and I was able to do the paperwork right in my driveway. And he had a full-time secretary, 24/7 secretary, that if I sold a car, which I did, I sold a car at 3 o'clock in the morning at a racetrack gas station. I called her up. I sent her pictures of the insurance and the driver's license, and she sent me back a temp tag. Then all I had to do was print it out. So at that time, I was kind of wild. I had a car. It had like an inverter that plugged into the thing, so you could plug in the printer, and you could print out at least the dealer tag. All the other paperwork was already pre-printed. You just had to fill it in by hand. So that's really it, man. Any questions, as always, hit me up. It's DMoFlips with an S at gmail.com. I'll definitely do the best I can to give you the best advice that I can. And, I hope you guys are making a ton of money. I know it's a rough time right now, but keep your head up and just move with the times. If you're starting to see that dollar menu cars aren't selling, then get into something nicer. If you're starting to see the nicer cars aren't selling, then get into something more affordable. Affordable is one of those terms that it's really dependent on the person who's buying it, right? Like if I got $10 million in a bank, I can go buy a Lamborghini. That's affordable to me. If I had $30,000 in a bank, I might want to end up in a 2006 Toyota Corolla. That's affordable to me. So, know your clientele, do your thing, make that money, stay healthy, and definitely take care of each other. I'm out of here.